Kids, buckle up back there. Settle down, buckle up. We're getting ready to go.
These two rowdy guys back here, they're all excited because they get to go see Truett with Brandon when they come visit us in Arizona. Our itinerary for our longest RV trip yet consisted of a quick rest night at the Barstow Koa, 2 nights at the Pirates Cove on the Colorado River, onward to the Phoenix area to pick up Brandon and Truett, and stay remotely for 4 nights southwest of the Phoenix metropolitan area. And then, after dropping them back at the airport, we headed back west with a 2-day stop at beautiful Lake Havasu and a final rest night in Bakersfield, California before returning home.
So we left Tracy at 9 a.m., headed south on Highway 5. When we got to Bakersfield, we cut across on Highway 58, and then we arrived at the Barstow Koa around 5 p.m. I remember it was really cold and windy that afternoon when we arrived.
"5:45 p.m. and we're just getting out of the rig after setting up, and we're just walking around the KOA here after a long day of driving. We had a nice stop at the, what was the name of that farm we went to today?
Murray Family Farm.
Yep.
In around Bakersfield area. Really cool place that you could do, you pick blueberries, cherries, peaches, whatever, depending on the season, at a farm for many different fruits, and nice picnic area. Yeah, it was really nice and good food.
What's it called?
An okie pie, a meat-filled pie.
Dig in.
One of them has pulled pork, I think it might be this one. Pulled pork and molasses and some stuff. Thanksgiving dinner.
I don't know, I'm going to be able to drive after eating this.
I'm not sure which one is which. That looks like the pulled pork,
Smells
actually.
like pork. This campground here brings back some very special memories. The KOA Barstow, just kind of do a 360 here. Not that this is really pretty, but it is meaningful to our RV life because it was December of 2017 that we rented our first RV down in Calabasas, California, and we worked with a travel planner to help us on an itinerary to get us eventually out to Sedona and the Grand Canyon. And what else did we do? Well, ended up in Las Vegas for New Year's Eve. But this was the first stop. This was night 1 after a very stressful day of getting down to Calabasas from Tracy, renting the RV, and then hitting the highway for the first time ever driving that one was a 34-foot rig.
At like
and then
rush hour traffic
in LA. Yes. And I white knuckled it. And then Brandon relieved me, I think, somewhere out by Victorville, and he drove the rest of the way. But when we pulled in here about 8 or 9 o'clock that night, I'll tell you what, that was a sigh of relief. And then we had a really fun time as a family just inside the gate there for the next several hours. I mean, very memorable family moment. So that brings back some memories here at Barstow Koa.
So the next morning we woke up, had a nice breakfast. We didn't have to rush because we had a short drive, like 3 hours to get to the next spot.
Yeah, the Pirates Cove where we were headed was right there on the Colorado River that borders California and Arizona. So yeah, we had planned it for a very short ride that day so that we could get there early in the day.
Seems like we arrived right about check-in time, like 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, you know, one of my greatest fears was that it was going to be really crowded when we pulled up because I thought we'd be hitting this resort at spring break, but we were told later that we missed spring break we were about 1 week early. So yeah, there was nobody there when we checked in. It was really nice. this trip, this Pirates Cove resort really stood out due to its uniqueness of having all these RV sites right on the Colorado River. And the place was as advertised, as the sites were just right up against the river, and we ended up on Peninsula site number 3.
When we arrived at our site, we were so happy that we were on the end that when you opened the door and looked out the window, you were looking straight at the beach and the river.
Yeah, and then right just steps outside our door was this beach.
Yeah, the resort has so many amenities. It had a huge marina, had a restaurant, a bar, has a general store and a boutique. You can rent off-road vehicles, and there's like hundreds of trails, and you can rent boats and different watercraft.
It looked like it would just be a really cool place to be in the summertime and with a lot of friends.
We're getting some chicken ready with Sweet Baby Ray's sweet and spicy barbecue sauce. Stu's gonna barbecue, and I don't have my normal brush, so I'm using a spoon.
And the other
this
powder or rub over there.
This rub is garlic butter rub. Has garlic powders and jalapeno powder and butter and salt. So we're gonna barbecue this all up, have some dinner and leftovers for salad during the week.
So for the next day, Thursday, we really planned this to be just a complete relaxation day. We took our time in the morning and just went off on a long walk that encompassed the entire peninsula and back. That was a really nice walk. And then for lunch, we went over to the marina, to the restaurant, and we had a really nice lunch and just kind of sampled some of the drinks and did a little bit of day drinking. And then we took a little tour of the rest of the marina complex. Well, hello there.
Another thing this resort has that you can rent are cabins. It looks like there's about 15 of them. They're waterfront. They're 2 stories tall.
2 bedrooms.
2 bath.
Full kitchen, microwave, dishwasher, washer and dryer, Wi-Fi.
A patio and a barbecue and a boat slip.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we had to leave this nice resort only after a couple days because we needed to head to Phoenix for the main event, which was to pick up Brandon and Truett at the Phoenix airport.
Yeah, so we had a really long day of driving from the resort over to the Phoenix area. We stopped in a Walmart parking lot to get some supplies late that afternoon. While Lynn was getting supplies, I went over to the Sky Harbor Airport, got a rental car, and then Lynn drove the rental car to the RV resort, and I followed her in the RV, and we got there right at sunset, and we were then escorted to our campsite, which was really a nice long site that had several amenities. I picked it because I thought it would be a really nice pad for Truett to play on.
So as we were getting our site set up the next morning, the boys were taking off in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, heading to Atlanta with a layover, and then heading out to Phoenix, and they arrived around the noon hour. So after we left the airport, we stopped for lunch in Phoenix.
A really good deli somewhere there near downtown Phoenix or Mesa area.
Yeah, really good, really quick service, I remember. And then we headed over to the RV, which was, about an hour away? Mm-hmm. And this was the first time Brandon and Truett saw the RV in person.
Wow. way bigger than I
Look
thought
at my
inside.
house. Our house, Truett.
Look at this. Go.
Come see G-Pa and Grammy's place.
Man, it smells good in here.
Yay!
The rest of the
Football.
afternoon consisted of relaxing around the campground.
We saw a beautiful southwestern sunset.
Brandon got to climb up on top of the RV. Stu and Brandon barbecued a nice tri-tip. We had grilled veggies and a potato casserole and a pepper jack potato casserole.
And then the next day was pool day.
Lucky for us, this resort keeps the pool at 90 degrees for the winter months, so Truett had a great time. He floated, he splashed, he had a little girl that was like,
Boy and girl in there.
Boy and girl.
Responded with really quick.
yeah, like a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, I think, and they like pulled him around in his little floaty, and
You got some friends, don't you?
Stu and Brandon ball like the old days. It was a great time.
That afternoon, we took about a 1-hour trip into the Scottsdale area where Brandon wanted to see up close the Giants spring training home there. We walked around the ballpark on the exterior. There wasn't a game being played there.
And then after walking around, we decided to go to a Mexican restaurant to celebrate Brandon's birthday.
Cheers. Keep it rolling. Cheers.
Cheers, cheers.
You're careful.
Enchiladas, burrito, fajitas, and a little bit of everything. Next day we made some breakfast burritos, went back to the pool, which was really fun, toured around the surrounding area, and we had Brandon open his presents to celebrate his birthday.
Oh my, what a lot of funny things to go by. The beer or the buck? Okay, buddy.
Sadly, after 3.5 days, it was time to say goodbye to the boys and take them back to the airport. That morning's drive offered Brandon an opportunity to drive the rig for the first time. Brandon's got us going on here on northbound 85 on Tuesday morning as we head back to the airport.
Driving somewhere else.
After dropping the boys off at the airport that morning, it was time for Lynn and I to start our journey back west. But we still had a lot of fun in store, and the first stop was going to be Lake Havasu. As we neared the resort area of Lake Havasu, the scenery just got beautiful near the Colorado River. Our destination was the Islander RV Resort located just south of downtown. It is a rather large complex that has a marina, some permanent residences, and lots of RV spaces. We are on a 6 p.m. happy hour walk here at our new location for the next 2 nights. It's Tuesday and Wednesday as we start to enter the home stretch of our trip here. And we are at the Islander RV Resort in Lake Havasu City. This is an area that we've been wanting to visit, and we thought this would be the ideal trip to make a stop over here and just see what this whole town is all about. You hear a lot about it in terms of spring break, and got to tell you, at the moment it is absolutely quiet. Now we are at an RV resort, and quite frankly, it may be the party is up the road in downtown with all the bars, but here it's very quiet for March, the middle of March.
Well, so far I feel like it's going to be so much fun. It has a lot of activities between bocce ball and hacky sack and what other games did we see? So many activities.
Take 2 on the activities. Let's try that again, Lynn. What do you got? She can actually see them all right here on the other side of the camera, so go ahead.
So there's so many activities here. There's golf putting green. There's hacky sack. There's bocce ball. Pickleball. That's the one I forgot. Pickleball. There's darts. There's the game we do at Rollins where you have 2 balls on a string and you throw it and it swings onto the other goal at the end. I don't know what you call that.
Testicle toss.
Yeah, that's what it is. I think that's pretty much all.
This is what we're looking at right now. It's just amazing to me. The resort seems full when you look at the vehicles that are parked in the spaces, but it's like we're the only ones out here.
Yeah.
And it's got boats everywhere. There ain't no boats going by.
Yeah, we haven't seen one pull in at all since we've been here.
It's just so, in a way, I like it. It's very relaxing, but in another way, it's just like, what's everybody doing?
Right.
But let's talk about the drive over here today, because this was a night. It was sad. I'm tearing up right now, having to say goodbye to Brandon and Truett, and Lynn, I think, had it the worst because she was in the terminal with them checking out. But once I picked her up, we focused on getting out of Phoenix and heading west.
So it started off due west on Highway 10, and it was just very boring and flat. Nothing exciting. But then
we stopped in Quartzsite.
Oh yeah, then we stopped in Quartzsite.
So let's explain what that is for those of you that don't RV yet. It's like the mecca for RVers in the winter to come down for one of the largest RV shows. I think that, and I've heard Hershey, Pennsylvania is the other super large RV show, but this is out in the middle of nowhere. But I'm sure I think there's tens of thousands of RVs that descend on this place in January, to see vendors, to look at all the new RVs, for people just to be together and get out of the cold weather and go to at least one of the more warmer places in the U.S.
So then we headed northwest, and we went through the town of Parker, which we had heard it's right on the Colorado River, and we had heard there were a lot of resorts. Oh my goodness. Between Parker and Lake Havasu, there's just beautiful RV resorts, one after the other, on both sides of the river. So 20, 30, probably 30, 40 minutes after we'd kind of passed through there, is when we got up into this resort area, Lake Havasu City. So, yeah. So I guess my impressions was I was so surprised. Like I'd heard or we read there was stuff, but I don't know. I just didn't get the impact of it. It was just beautiful.
And shout out to one park we did pull into. It was called Buckskin State Park.
Mm-hmm.
And it was absolutely beautiful. I was thinking about making a reservation there for this step, but this stop of the trip, but it was going to require us to have to change sites in the middle each night. So I passed on that, but definitely would want to go back there because you were literally right at river's edge and shade. There's a lot of shade and just a beautiful place.
Yeah, it looked really well kept. So the next day we took a really long walk from our resort that's on the island. We went across the famous London Bridge, which is the historical landmark in that city. And then when we got to the other side, Lake Havasu City, we shopped and we ate lunch. And then we rented e-bikes for the first time.
Yeah, the e-bikes or electronic bikes is something that we've come across recently watching some videos of other RVers, and they looked really cool. And basically you can still pedal the bike or you can engage this electronic motor, and the bike pretty much does all the work for you. And I was frankly surprised at how fast it would go. It allowed us to cover a lot of ground for the 2-hour rental that we had, and I found it to be a lot of fun.
We ended this leg of our trip by walking around the resort, and we found this secluded patio. So we sat there and watched the sunset, and we reflected upon what a great trip we were having.
Now it was time to end the Arizona portion of our trip and head back into California. We didn't think we could get all the way back home in one day. It'd be a little too much driving. So we made a stop, an overnight stop in Bakersfield at a pretty nice RV resort that was situated in a very large grove of orange trees.
Reach. Okay. Oh. And you caught it. Woohoo!
So this is where this episode ends. It was a great trip down to the Southwest, seeing Brandon and Truett. Miss you, Becca. Sorry you weren't there on that one, but you'll get on board soon. And coming up in our next episode will be Christine joining us in the wine country, and we'll have that video out in a couple of weeks.
Thank you for watching episode 6 of Journey with the Josseys.